Hello again. So it's been about a year since our first build here with James. If you remember, you've seen the other video. We did all the carpeting, ply lining, sound deadening, insulation. Stayed in it several times over the summer and it's worked absolutely fantastically. So yeah, no complaints about that at all. The plan today is to build a bed in the back. I'll go through the plans we've roughly got in a second. It's going to be a pretty simple design. I'd rather get a simple design that works, we can add to it and things later, than try and overcomplicate it and it just not work. This absolutely is not going to be a how-to video. If anything, maybe a how not to, and you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so the plan is a simple construction on the side with just a folding top that opens up like a book that then rests on a little worktop on the side. A couple of things to consider is we've got this cool box to fit in, and then I've got a metal sort of safety box as well where I'll keep any like flammables and things like that. They're both the exact same height, so that's kind of going to dictate the height of the bed. Another thing I want to consider is that I want to be able to get in on the front near side door. So this side down here, the bench, that can't go as far because we need to be able to get in the door in the end. The stuff we've got to work with, so we've got all this ply pre-cut. So the two larger bits are pre-cut for the bed, and then we've got a smaller bit which is going to be sort of the worktop, and then we'll build a frame out of the other things and the legs, and that's all the same size stuff. And then if we've got time, putting a hinged shelf on the back here as well. So that's the plan. We'll see how we get on. Let's make a start. So I'll explain the plan a little bit better with me inside. So a simple frame along this edge here. The measurements we've taken basically, so 190 long, which is the length of the mattress. That'll go from the back out to about here, halfway down the door, and then 60 outwards. A frame like that with legs and a plywood top, and then on top of that another piece of ply that's hinged that comes out, and then down the side here there's going to be a shelf that can be used sort of, you know, for storage. When it's folded up it's kind of like a bench, and then the fold will literally come out and rest on the bench, giving you the flat surface. That's the plan. I'm fully happy to sort of change things as we go along. As with all these things, it never quite goes exactly how you want. I think the way we're going to tackle it first is to make that first 60 by 190 square frame, rectangle frame, with legs, get that in with a top, because then that's the main foundation, that's the bit we need to secure, work out how many legs, work out if, or rather make sure that the cool box and the metal cabinet fit underneath it, and then we can start working on the hinge and stuff like that after. So the measurement now we need to get, I think, is that minus
two of
both
those
of that thickness.
Yeah.
To get how long?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 61. I'll take 13. So we originally purchased loads of right-angled brackets. We're definitely going to need some. That's probably how we're going to fix things to the floor or to any of the walls. But as we've come to building it, we've just basically drilled and countersunk 2 screws in the end, and then we got 10 centimetre screws all the way in. So that is absolutely bomb-proof. So I think as few brackets as we can use is probably the way forward. And then now we'll just screw straight through the top of the ply into this frame, obviously avoiding the corners where there already screws inside. And then we'll measure that up inside, stick some legs on it, and then that will be the first, the first part done. We'll go a couple centimetres in from the end.
10.
And then just do them at 20 like that.
Yeah.
All the way along. Cool, so just measured along the edge in sort of 20 centimetre increments. It doesn't need to be that exact, to be honest. It's not going to be any work of art. Not sponsored by Ryobi, but if they want to. So yeah, countersunk all the way along. Do the same this side. So far so good. So is that the good edge?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fits.
But it's going to be higher.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't make much difference how much higher it gets for that, does it?
That's a good point, because
that comes up out, does it?
Yeah. So lift it all the way up. So it would have to be there. Cool. Well, I said plans were going to change.
They always do, though, don't they?
We've got it in.
Oh, sorry.
And
What you were talking?
this is the cool box underneath. So that's the height it needs to be. You can see under here, obviously we can have a leg on the back corner, but the other corner, it would miss the edge, so we're gonna have to come in a bit. Then we reckon one in the, not necessarily the middle, but along here somewhere. And then for the back, we can do one on the corner, but right back under there, we just need to span the gap onto the top of the wheel box. So 1, 2, 3, so 4 legs at 47, which is to get the box underneath. We'll get it in like that, and then we can start working out other legs, how much more support it needs. A thing I've literally just thought of as I'm talking to you is when we have this coming out the other platform, we need to be able to get this box out. So that plan's going to have to change as well. It's all change. We're just working out the best way to fix these on. What we've gone for is brackets either side. It's obviously strong in one direction, but in the other there is a bit of play. So I think we're gonna flip her over and put one screw all the way through from the other side as well. No matter how much I measured this, we're still playing as we go, really, so that we can fit other things in. Cool, change of plans again. I did say this was going to be a how not to video. So we decided that these brackets is just not stable enough, but also with them being inset, it doesn't give enough space to sort of get things in and out. So the plan now is for bits like this. That is the height up of the frame, so we can drill and screw straight through. 2 screws like that, much stronger. We'll do 1 each on these corners down here. We'll change out the front corner or the back of the van corner, and then that will enable the cool box to slide in and out, and it's going to be stronger. So yeah, bit of a error of judgment, but better to change it now than sort of live with it and it doesn't work. Much happier with this. So we've got them slightly on the edge. If anything, that will be a bit more support once the top bit's out. It also, the cool box fits in and out of the back now, which is perfect. It means that we can put the metal box further towards the front, so then the actual door could open, because we were finding that was knocking against the leg. So now we're going to measure this gap up under here for another support on that back bit, so it will rest on the box, and then potentially another leg at the back edge in the middle somewhere just for some more support. But 100% this was the right call. Okay, we're very happy with how that first bit sits now. The next thing we need to work out is with this second bit and lifting it up and over, is the clearance wise, there's enough clearance like for the main part, but it's whether we just need to take a little bit off the corners so it doesn't catch on things. So we're going to put the hinges in and then basically do it. We might need to cut off a bit, do it again, we might need, and just do it like that. But little bits missing from the corners in a nice smooth is going to be absolutely fine. That's not going to affect the bed at all. Okay, so we haven't bolted anything to the floor, so we can still shuffle stuff around. What we've done is we've got both bits of ply, at the moment just two hinges. We're going to chuck another two in the middle. It opens and closes. We just took the back corner off just so it misses the edge. That's all good. So then now we're getting this secondary sort of platform measured so that the edge of this will butt up flush and then it will rest on the same size legs. So we've got a CD and we're gonna, because this edge here it's not square at all, we're gonna use that so that we can get a profile of the edge. Then we can go flat against it and then we can measure off of here for a straight line that's not going to be square to the edge, so that we can get a good meeting of the two. We've seen it in YouTube videos, it should work.
Got it.
Happy with how that's turned out. So we built this, which is essentially another frame like the underside of the bed. So then we can put two legs on the front, and that will then give us is much like this. There'll be the overhang so that the far edge rests on it and gives you a completely flat surface with the two beds and this all being flush. So we'll get these legs on now. Then we need to measure that gap and do exactly what we did under here for a couple more. And then that, in theory, is the whole top surface done. We'll give it a couple of tests and then we'll get the legs bolted down as well. And then there's a little problem with this corner, maybe needing some support, but we'll tackle that in a minute. So yeah, we'll just finish this bit off now.
So when this is folded over, there's not much here supporting in the middle, so it might sag a little bit there. We were thinking about putting another leg in, like this, which would have done the job fine, but it would mean we'd have a leg right here in the middle, which could make manoeuvring things in and out a little bit more difficult. So as a workaround, which I think would actually be stronger, we're thinking of putting a piece in all the way along, like this. So the whole of this edge is supported. And we could also do the same here. And then we are basically massively improving the strength without losing the space. So that's, I think, what we're going to do, as long as we've got enough of this.
We've got loads, yeah. Cool, right, great progress. All of the legs are now attached down, on the side. What I've done on the back here, we've got like a foldable leg, so that when it opens, this is what I was saying, this corner is going to be a problem. It comes down, so this corner is supported as well. What we're just working now is some kind of locking mechanism, so that it's not going to get folded away when we're in. But it is really important because this corner, when the bed's out, that's where we're going to be getting out. So that'll be fine, but it does sort of need to be locked in some way. Cool. So this is the contraption that James has come up with. So it's basically a lock system. So when it's back, obviously fine. And then as we come down, locks into place pretty solid. So there you go. So that's not going to go anywhere. And then when we put it away, away like that. Happy days. Pleased with that. Cool, so we're almost sort of getting there. Installed one of these. So this is actually the piece of ply that came with the ply kit that would fit on the back. We ended up not installing it, but I've now put it on. It's not incredibly strong. Definitely couldn't sit on it or put anything too heavy, but it would take like a gas cooker or, you know, coffee making and stuff like that. Calling that done for the day. Pretty happy. So I've seen most of it, but I'll just give you sort of one last tour. So we've got the lift up table that we did here. We've got the bed now in its sort of made position. We did make a little shelf out of just some of the old pallets that we had from what we used to use, so sort of for tea and coffee and stuff. Some mugs underneath. And then this is it from the other angle. Obviously we've got this lock on here. So yeah, like I said at the start, this is absolutely not been a how-to. It's been a learn from our mistakes and don't make the same ones. Anyway, on to the summer and lots of trips in it. See you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.